All right, next up, I'm going to tell you Katrina's story. There's a major problem in New South Wales, and it's that ordinary people who have done nothing wrong are being harassed by an anti-discrimination board. They are intimidated, fined and silenced for doing absolutely nothing. Let me explain by telling just one of many stories. And this is recent, it's ongoing right now. Katrina is a mother of 4. She runs her own photography business. She focuses on newborns, children and families. And in January of this year, it was actually the Australian Christian Lobby, ACL, so my organisation, was petitioning the Brisbane City Council to stop its drag queen storytime programs. And so, something I talk about in Season 6, Episode 1 earlier this year. You can go and search it if you want to look at my view on that and why I think that's an issue. But you'll recall that the particular event in question at that time, or just happened actually when this petition went up, was that 2 adult entertainers, one of which had won awards as a pornographic actor and had an explicit drag name, which I'm not going to repeat, was involved in reading stories to little children. So it was pretty messy and frankly fairly shameful stuff. And Katrina shared that petition in the light of these events and the unfolding of this on her personal Facebook page, and she wrote the following. She said, "I can't believe that I've just had to sign a petition to try and stop drag queen story time happening at libraries in our country. I can't believe this actually happened in Brisbane last weekend. What happened to protecting children's innocence and letting them just be kids? Why the need to have adult entertainers reading them stories? Hardly good role models with many involved in drugs and prostitution, etc. Feeling scared for our children's future, please sign and help save their innocence." Now, I think adult entertainers and the links to those things is probably not a totally unreasonable thing to say. But Katrina received an email from a well-known activist and serial litigant, a guy called Gary Burns. And if you haven't heard of him, you're about to get acquainted with some of what he does. He wrote her this. He said, "I'm a homosexual man. I do not take illicit drugs or am not involved in prostitution. I'm not a criminal. My homosexuality does not equate to criminality under any Australian State Crimes Act. I've lodged a complaint with the President of the New South Wales Anti-Discrimination Board alleging you've incited contempt and or hatred against me on the ground of my male homosexuality. If the complaint is accepted by the Board, the President's delegate will write to you asking for a response. Katrina, you need to be aware that the internet is not like having a private conversation on the telephone with no lasting record. If the complaint is accepted by the President, I'll be seeking an apology and monetary damages from you." She then received another email from him a little while later containing what the complainant alleged was a media release that was, to be sent out to the media. And it was headlined, "For immediate release, Sydney gay rights activist lodges homosexuality vilification against photographer over statement published by her on her Facebook page that bracket homosexuals with criminals." I might make a couple of, I just realised I missed a word. I'm not. The actual text of that he's written has got typos. So if I make a couple of mistakes, that's why. But it's worth noting that what that headline alleges is not correct. Homosexuals are not mentioned anywhere in Katrina's post. She doesn't know the complainant from a bar of soap. There's no wrongdoing, just even on that basis. But the media release goes on. It's long. It's at times quite sexually explicit, so I won't read it except for the following closing comments. "Katrina clearly does not understand the law and in particular does not understand the provisions of the New South Wales Anti-Discrimination Act 1977, said Mr Burns. My advice to her is to stick to commenting on matters she understands. Fellas, I'm just like a vicious Alsatian dog. Once I grab hold of a gay hater's leg, I won't let go until the bone is bloodied and bare. One way or another, I will get that remedy from Katrina, even if it takes me years in court." Now, worse than that, the purported media release contained Katrina's full name, address, and mobile phone number, which is effectively a practice or a threat of, if not actually a practice known as doxing, revealing someone's personal information as a tactic of intimidation. Now, Katrina has since received an email from the New South Wales Anti-Discrimination Board, even though she doesn't live in New South Wales, which states, 1, that she's received a letter from them and not replied, and that's not correct. She hasn't received the letter. Secondly, that the board has power to compel Katrina to provide it with information. Thirdly, that if there is no response from her, it might send the complaint to the New South Wales Civil and Administrative Tribunal. Fourthly, that the New South Wales Tribunal may impose a penalty on her of up to $100,000. Now here's the problems which the board knows full well and has deliberately ignored. 1, the complainant is a serial complainant and is a vexatious litigant. He has lodged malicious complaints like this many times. In fact, he has lodged a total of well over 100 complaints, probably a total of hundreds of complaints, including, I might add, against an intellectually disabled man who doesn't have the money or the wherewithal to properly defend himself and frankly poses a threat to nobody. Secondly, the complaint has absolutely no merit. Katrina made no reference to homosexuals at any time. Thirdly, Katrina has no connection to the complainant, lives interstate, and was posting about a local issue in her own community. So why did the board accept that complaint? And then why did they write to Katrina threatening her with up to $100,000 in penalties? And the answer is because they're on the complainant's team. This has been going on for ages. They accept his complaints time and time and time again. And they have clearly no regard, or very little regard, for their merit, because this has clearly got no merit, and I know of others. They have little regard for the unconscionable behaviour of the complainant himself, little regard for really anything except the opportunity to make someone's life stressful and difficult, drag them through a legal process, very often make them pay up to settle a matter which may well have no chance of going anywhere in court, so they've got no business doing so, like this one. And it's really what many have called the discrimination industry. And it subjects innocent people to great stress, great pressure, financial loss, millions of dollars wasted in court over the course of all of these complaints, a bloated bureaucracy who finds relevance and work, and a stack of case law precedent that's made to help it continue. And not only that, but notice something in all of this. Where's the debate about drag queen story time? There is none. There's only lawsuits. And see, that's what you do when you can't win an argument. You resort to power plays and things like that and lawsuits. But you know, I really have been watching this sort of thing happen for a long time, not just in New South Wales. There's a problem right across the country with these kinds of commissioners and so forth. And frankly, it's time it stopped, which is why the work of One Nation's Mark Latham, I think, deserves a plug. He is introducing in the New South Wales Upper House a bill to raise the threshold for complaint acceptance by the New South Wales Anti-Discrimination Board. It's a small step, but it's a start, right? And it might stop this kind of thing for, you know, a mother of four, completely innocent, done nothing wrong, getting about her business on Facebook, concerned about her children, and this is what she faces. It might stop some of this. And Mark has said the following in Parliament. He said, at a time when the New South Wales court system has a huge backlog of matters, it is incredible that someone like Burns has been able to eat up resources elsewhere in the legal system at the Anti-Discrimination Board and NCAT. He has been treated as a credible complainant for these hundreds of matters when the scores of items he's forwarded to my office since March 2019 clearly show he's not of sound mind. Last year, and I don't know, by the way, whether that's true or not, last year I raised this problem with the Attorney General, Mr. Speakman, but he has done nothing. This is a matter an Attorney General should care about to close down the reckless abuse of the legal system for which he is responsible and carefully protect the proper use of taxpayers' resources. And that is bang on the money. So, quickly, what can you do? I'd say if you're in New South Wales, contact your local MP and raise your concern about this. Tell them that you support Mark Latham's bill, particularly if they're in the upper house. Write to the Attorney General, Mark Speakman, and ask why this is not fixed. It's got to stop. It's been going on and on and on with many people and many complaints. People like Bernard Gaynor have been dealing with this for years. And it's frankly unconscionable. And if you're needing help with a matter like this yourself, oh, by the way, pray for Katrina and her family as well. And maybe pray for Gary too, because it'd be nice to see him stop what he's doing. And see the light. But anyway, if you're needing help with a matter like this, contact the Human Rights Law Alliance, because they're a law firm specialising in freedom of religion, speech and conscience. They're ACL's sister organisation, and they are acting for Katrina in her case. And also, don't be intimidated. After I tell these stories, I worry, because a lot of people say, well, I can't post on Facebook anymore. No, post on Facebook. This is a spurious, malicious complaint. It's got no basis. And you know, if you do get into trouble with this kind of thing, let us know, because we have resources that can aid you in the process. But don't, you know, stop speaking. That's really important. That's the worst thing you can do, because the cone of silence is exactly what they want through some of this activism. But yeah, look, support those laws, support HRLA, and say a prayer. Hey guys, make sure you click like to like the video, or hit the subscribe button down here and click on the bell so you don't miss any notifications. And to watch more videos, just click here. Cheers. Go on, click one. You know you want to.